So Gmail for the start of this week, and I am probably the worst person to give you advice on organizing your emails because I don't organize my emails. My personal Gmail account has a lot of unread messages. I'm one of those people who only opens the ones that I'm expecting and leaves the rest. And I have gone and marked all unread in my EduBuzz email for this morning because if it's a Google Classroom one, I just leave it sitting there unless I know it's a comment or something to reply to. So I am going to tell you what to do. So do as I say, not as I do. It's one of those days. But yeah, it's just because I've not used Gmail as much as I have in the last few weeks with lockdown and doing these tea parties. So certainly any questions, pop them in the chat. Our main focus is going to be on creating labels, doing a signature as well, and automatic replies, because I know some people are getting a lot of emails in their Gmail, and I know some people are getting emails from like some parents that they're not comfortable having. So if we do an automatic reply, you could just have a reminder set in that so that they don't send emails to you and just have the school email address in that. Or we're also going to look at setting tasks and putting them into our calendar from emails as well. Everything else, I'm going to put some YouTube videos as well for some useful Gmail advice into the classroom following the session, because there's quite a lot to do. I'm not going to cover it all simply because it's quite a lot in one little half-hour session, but I'll put in some really useful videos for you all too. So just a reminder, if you're not a member, most of us today are East Lothian, just because Mid Lothian do not have access to Gmail within Glow. So just make sure you're a member of the classroom and you'll be able to access the tasks for today. So that's PDQN6XL. I think I know that one off by heart now. And we'll just get started. So just a reminder, all the tasks are in the classroom or Gmail task for today. So you'll see get organized, getting most out of your emails. We're going to use stars and labels. We're going to open an email, add a task to it to associate with a calendar. That's a way of doing reminders. And we're going to create a really awesome signature that you're incredibly proud of. Not just something that's useful, like mine says best regards, Ailey Mackay. Something awesome, you know, high expectations this Monday morning. So the first thing I'm going to do is open Gmail. There are different ways we can get there. We can go to google.com, then you see this Gmail button at the top. We can go to mail.google.com. That will take us to Gmail. Or in the 9 tiles, you've also got the Gmail icon. I always forget that it says Gmail here, and I always tend to go 9 tiles in Gmail. There is the app. Emojis, we can do some emojis as well in our signatures, but there is an app as well for Gmail. So on my phone I have all of my accounts for Gmail in there, and then you can quickly switch between accounts. You just click on the, let me do it very quickly just so I can remind myself. You click at the top where it's got your profile picture in the app, and then that will allow you to add another account or manage your account. So you could then switch between your work and personal if you use it for personal as well. So I'm going to open up Gmail. And like, I've still got 19 unread, but that'll be because they're on another page. So we're past that. I get quite a lot of emails in this, but probably not as many as any of you do. So you'll probably all get emails every single day from your classroom updating that things have been posted. If that's the first thing that you're getting is any Google Classroom things like this one here, where it says Google Classroom, you've posted an assignment. Now for me, I don't need these. You can unsubscribe. So if you are getting heaps of emails from your Google Classroom, certainly if it's one that you're not really using, or if you just prefer to go into the classroom and see updates, you can unsubscribe from your classroom emails. So you'll see each email associated with a classroom has got its own code. So you can unsubscribe from that, and then that will mean that you're not going to get any of those updates, and it won't clog up your emails either. So that's the first thing I would really say. In any email, you'll see now Gmail is, I prefer it now to Outlook. I used to be the other way around. And the you can star things. So that's kind of like the flag when you would flag an email as something to come back to. I'm going to show you how you can color code the stars. You might want to do that. I just stay with the one gold. In my personal, I think I have about 4 different colors that I use. I used to use. I stopped. I was getting too many emails. I started with good intentions. They didn't last very long. And you've also got the option to reply. And then in the more at the side, you can then filter. You can also, so for filtering a message like this, you can then just have it so that you can create a filter and then you can make it go straight to a label, or you can forward it on to someone else. So if you were getting loads of emails, you can forward it on to somebody else, or you can just mark them as read straight away. So if it was one of your Google Classroom emails, when I open that up, so you'll see when I filter it, and you'll see all of these are the emails that have come through to that Techie Tea Party classroom. These are all of the ones that have been scheduled. As you can see, posted, schedule, assignment, all of this nonsense in this same one. So if I then go into this, the 3 dots, I can then create a filter. And let me just go into, sure, it is not coming up with it now. Here we go. So I can then I can do the show original as well. I can do all different sorts of things in here, but I'm going to come out of this completely. And then I can add this to a list, and I can also go in and I can block this as well. But certainly unsubscribe is the best one for that. Now what I'm going to do, if I just close this, back to my inbox, I am going to open another one of these emails, and then I'm just going to star it from here. Now you can do this from the main page as well. So you'll see down the left-hand side, we've got all these stars, and then we can star that as well. Now, something that I really haven't paid any attention to in Gmail is these little yellow flags that appear next to things, and that's Google marking these as important. And this is them using their machine learning to kind of decide if this is an important email or if it's not an important email. Now, you can unflag that because it will automatically make it important if you're getting the same emails quite a lot. So I have started to go through and unmark quite a few things. If it's someone specific who is commenting, I like to make sure that they are marked as important because they will draw my attention. But certainly it's something that I haven't paid much attention to previously. And you'll see as we hover over emails, we have these options down the right-hand side. We can snooze emails. So if this is something that you want to come back to later, you hit snooze, you can snooze it for a later time in the day, then it will come back into your inbox at that point. So if it's something that you feel you're going to lose in your inbox, if you've got a lot of emails go back and forth, you can snooze it, then it will come back in and do another alert for you, or you can snooze it for another day. And then we also have the option to mark it as unread, so it will go back into bold. We can delete it straight away. And we can also archive. So I'm just going to archive that one there. If it's something that you've replied to, it's dealt with, just go through and archive them. And you'll note as I hover over different things, I can just click on archive like that. And along the 3 dots at the top, we can mark all as read as well. We've also got the select option where we can select, or we can select all of the unread, starred, and so on. That's this button along here. And we can also refresh. So if you want to check for new emails, simply hitting that refresh will do that. We're now going to draw our attention over to the settings wheel. So if we go along this bit where we've got our compose, all the way along to the right, we then get our settings wheel. Then to get into this, we can go into settings. So settings wheel followed by settings. Now this is where we can personalize how our inbox works, make it certainly better for ourselves. And what I'm going to do here is I am going to, first of all, I'm going to change how many conversations I see on a page. So its default is set at 50. You can change that to 10. So you get certainly if you're only getting about 10 emails through a day, you may want to have it as 10, or you can have it up to 100. There is an option, I will show you this shortly, and I'll send Angus an email. But you can undo the send. So there's a period of 5 seconds, that's the default time. There's a period of 5 seconds where you can cancel the sending of an email. So you can cancel that completely, but you can make that 30. So if you've been sent an email, sometimes we reply quite abruptly before we maybe should have, or have maybe you've forgotten to attach that attachment, as I always do. I am that person who always goes, oh, apologies, here's the attachment. You may want to make it a bit longer. Certainly, I would probably say 30 seconds is when I've probably realised the attachment is missing. But 5 seconds typically is okay in terms of how long you need to actually go back to it all. You can have it so that your default reply behavior is reply or reply all, please. I hate reply all. it's a real bugbear, certainly when we've got that classroom group that we're all in, where people are replying all with big questions or replying all with examples. Just reply. Don't reply all sends it to every single person in the mailing list. It's not the best behavior in terms of GDPR, just in case you are including any sensitive data, which you shouldn't be on Gmail. Gmail should just be very much learning and teaching resources being shared or advice for your students. This is the inbox where you can email students, and it is the one where students will likely email you as well. But certainly reply all, regardless of what email you're using, is not the best email etiquette. That's in my opinion. It may be different for your schools. Hover over action, you can change the default text as well. So this is a question I was asked not too long ago, actually, was how you can change the text, the color, and everything for when you're using your emails. So I'm going to click on this, and then this is where I can change the text. Now, you have very limited options. We have that lovely Comic Sans in there as well, but certainly you can change it to one of those. You can change the size, and you can change the text color. So this is certainly where you can change that. And it may be that the larger text is better for you or for your reader as well. And then it gives you a preview. So if I change this to Verdana and then large, then I can change it. I tend to go for the darker colors along the bottom. I do feel that that's a bit too light for an email text. So one of the darker colors will certainly be easier for people to read. And you can also remove the formatting, so it will go back to normal. So you can play about with that, and you can change all of these things. Now, some of the clever things with Gmail is it has Smart Compose. Now, this was a newer feature that came in last year, and it is coming to Google Docs. It's not been rolled out in the Google for Education Google Docs yet, but it may appear on your personal Gmail if you use Gmail for your own email accounts as well. So I'm going to compose a new email. I'm going to send this to Angus, and I will start typing. So if I start, it might only appear if I reply, actually. Yeah, let me go into an email where I need to reply. 2 seconds, discard changes, and let me find an email. Let me go into one. Thrilling viewing. Let me reply to this one. So, Rebecca. And then as I pick up on bits from the question, the session, so you'll see, thanks for your email. If I start typing, I can then hit tab, we'll stop, and then it will start to suggest bits and pieces as well. Now, it's not doing it all for me in this one, but certainly it's quite a nice setting for if you are replying to quite a lot of emails, it will give you some suggestions. And that is the Smart Compose. You can have that off if you don't want to use it. You can certainly switch that off, and that is the Smart Compose. And you can also change if you want to have the autocorrect. I like autocorrect being on. Spelling and grammar suggestions as well is really useful as an email feature. And this is where we can change our stars. So we can add multiple stars to our Gmail. And you can also add some more custom stars like the important flag and color code that as well. So you can have it color coded so that you've done. So there's the nice green tick. It did just used to be stars. So if I add these in, I can just drag these, click and drag them into different orders. And then when you click through, I hit save. This is the different thing with Gmails. We have to scroll down and save. We're not too used to saving when we're in the Google world, but certainly in Gmail, we need to hit save. So as I click on that starred, I click through, and then I can get to the tick, which is a really nice feature actually for you as a visual to see that you've done something. So to recap that was in settings. Scrolling down on this general page for the stars, and if I want it to be something like, I've still got this to do, I have done it. If I come into that save, and then still got that one to do, but I have dealt with this one. Okay, so that's a really nice feature for us to use just to give us a quick visual. As you can see, I've still got a few things to do, but I have dealt with this one here. And finally, in our settings as well, we've got a few other things. So in the settings on the general page, it does annoy me that we can't just skip down, to be honest. We've got our signature. Now, this is where you're going to create that really awesome signature. You can use emojis if you want to use emojis. And certainly, you can change the font, the size of this as well. You can even have some bullet points. Now, this is where you can, if this is something and you're only using Gmail to communicate with your students, make it really custom to you and your class. So go for that. You can add multiple signatures as well. So you may have one for students, you may have one for if you are replying to any parents, if that is something that you're doing in Gmail. Obviously, that's up to your school. That's not up to me to decide if you do or do not do that. But the main advice is no sensitive data on G Suite. So if that is something that ends up being discussed, that should be, following the normal school protocol of phone call and recording it in CMS. It should not be recorded in a chain of emails on a Gmail or an Outlook, really, for that matter. And then you can also set out of office. So you may want to have automatic replies on all the time. And then you can set a last day, but you could just have things switched on. So this could be, certainly if you're not looking at Gmail all the time, I don't look at it all of the time. It's typically the tab that I close and I go, oh, I need to check my emails. You can have it that there's an automatic reply. Give yourself a time frame, or I will be checking emails between this time and this time, so that your students or whoever is emailing you has an idea of when you were looking at those emails. Obviously, don't have to do that. Next thing to show, and this is the last thing really to show in the Gmail settings, is the labels. Now, this is where we can create labels for different emails. So you could have emails I've got down at the bottom. I've got examples, exam, student, action. So you can create labels, and this is kind of a way of filtering. So you'll see down the side, I've got these label signs, and I can go into my student icon. Let me cancel. I'll do this quickly. So I'll create a new label, and then classroom comments, and then I can nest the label under, so I can have that go under other labels as well. So kind of like a subfolder in a way, but it's a label, this is called. And then I can create that. So if I go back into my inbox, I always need to hit save. Go back into general, save changes, save. Okay. And now let's hit OK. Now when I click on some emails, I can then add a label. Now this is the label at the top along here. So it looks like an arrow pointing to the right, and not the folder with the arrow pointing to the right. There's a couple different options, but we can label these. I can go into classroom comments and apply, and then you'll see the label has appeared on that email there. So I've got that email. You can add multiple labels. So when you go into this classroom comments, you could have things that are labeled with 5 different labels. So it may be classroom comments, but these are ones specifically from students. You could have students and classroom comments. So it's just another way of organizing. Let me just recap the tasks for today. So we've got create a really awesome email signature, create a task and associate it with your calendar. That's the one I'm forgetting. So what I am going to do, I'm going to open up this one here, and I've got a comment from a student. So what I can now do is down the right-hand side, when you're on our Gmail on the browser, we have these 3 options. So we've got tasks, keep, and calendar. So from here, we can open up our Google Calendar down the right-hand side, and we can maybe add a quick event into this. So I could then add some time. I've got the event. It will take it from your email, and then I will pop in, maybe it's a task that I've got to do from that email, or perhaps I need to then create a meeting to meet with Emma to discuss this. Alternatively, we can create a task. So this is like your to-do list. So this is from within that email. I can click on tasks, and then this is where I can add a task. So if I click add a task, now my other half, he found this feature yesterday and said, oh, I never knew you could do tasks from Gmail. This is really useful. And I was like, where have you been? I've been telling you about this for a while. But certainly add a task from here. I think if we go into, let me just click out of this for a second, 3 dots, create event. You can do that as well. So you can, excuse me, create an event from there. So that was the 3 dots along the top. Or we can go into this task and create a task. So this is where we can do our little reminder. And remember to view classroom comments. And then that will go in. I can then edit that. I can add a date so that I can set a deadline. Now, as soon as you add a date to this, it will then go into your Google Calendar as well. So it'll become a little blue icon in Calendar, and I'll show you that once I've done this. So if I set that for Wednesday and OK, if I go into my Google Calendar, I've got open here. If I view this one only, hopefully, it's not updated yet. Oh, that's what I need to do. I need to show my tasks calendar. Here it is. So if I display this one only, there we go. We've got our tasks. So you've got a tasks calendar as well as your personal. So you just need to make sure that it is viewable. Obviously, I tend to have mine switched off. So you've got your task in there. I can click on this and I can mark it as complete. And then that will remove it from your tasks in your Gmail. So you've got the couple of different things. Yes, Louise, that is how your pupil said that she was on annual leave with that automatic reply. Quite clever that. I quite like that as a student, going in and marking something as you're on annual leave. You'll reply when you can. Students are out of office. Like it. So yes, certainly adding tasks is a really nice method of going through, setting all your to-do things out of your email, bringing them over into your calendar. So you've got that easy to use to-do list. Now the last thing I'm going to show you, so we've got that task, we've got the labels put in, we know where to go to do our signature. I'm going to show you Google Keep. Now this hasn't been something on my to show list, but Google Keep is like my absolute favorite. I use it every day. So you can create something from your Google Keep. So this is where I do to-do lists. I don't tend to use tasks. That's just because I'm terrible at accessing my personal Google Calendar and keeping on top of all the events and that. So I tend to use Google Keep. It's an app on its own. If you use Gmail on a personal account, you can do your shopping lists on it, set reminders by location. So as soon as you get to Asda, for example, you could have it so that your shopping list comes up on your phone. And you can also have it that you have lists that are shared with other people as well. So I tend to do this either to have a keep with colleagues, or I would have it so that I have a keep with my other half so that he will share a shopping list with me, and then I will go to Asda and get all that. So it's all in one place and we can add to it as we like. There are other tools within Google Keep. If I open it up, so it's keep.google.com, and it's also the one in the 9 tiles. I scroll down, it's got the little light bulb in the post-it note. You'll notice my Google Keep here is lovely and tidy. My personal one is not quite so neat. So Google Keep is where we can do reminders, we can create notes as well. If you do the tick box for your new list, it will auto-complete. It's certainly really useful for shopping lists because it will predict what you want to see. But you can share these with others. So it's not letting me zoom in, but if let's see if I can, it doesn't want to zoom in, does it? Reset. So if I click on this add person, now that's quite a standard symbol for us now within G Suite. If we click on that, we can then add someone else to this. So if I add Angus as a contributor to this, you see his little profile picture appear. I can then start typing to do, and as a faculty, as a stage partners and Aid Stage within primary schools, you may want to have projects. So right now you might have things that you're working on together. You're trying to keep track of all the things that you're doing. You can have multiple contributors to this. And then if you go through, you can just tick off and everyone sees the update. There's a slight lag. It's not as fast as Google Docs with the edits, but honestly, it's about a couple of seconds. So that's certainly Google Keep. We can use the same shortcut for a new Google Keep note with keep.new, and then that will create a new note for us, and we get this option here. If you, at this point, want to add any tick boxes, you just click on the 3 dots and then show tick boxes. And other great thing about Google Keep is certainly if you've got touchscreen devices in your school, so if you've got the 2-in-1 Chromebooks, or if you have, we don't have the iPad apps, but on your personal devices, if you've got bring your own device in school, and right now when students are accessing things possibly on tablets and phones outside of school, we can click on this drawing icon. Now this is me on a PC, so on a PC it will work as well. It's just not as nice as it is on a touch screen. And this is where we have a blank canvas. So if you're looking for a whiteboard that you could use on Google Meet, you could use Keep and do drawings on this, and you've got the option for different colors, different sizes, highlighters, pens, erasers, and then you also have the grid view. So we can do this for the maths. You could do some squares if you're wanting to do some teaching of maths on your screen. The dots are great for shapes. And then rules. Now, if you zoom in on this, now this should work now. Oh, is it not doing it? So on the app, when you zoom in, now as a primary teacher, this is what really excites me about Google Keep. You can zoom in and then the line spacing gets bigger. It's not doing it on the browser, but on the app, as you zoom in, that line space goes massive. So for younger students doing handwriting on touchscreen devices, brilliant. And then you can also have it as none. So that's another useful whiteboard tool. It is linked over to Gmail. You will also find it in Google Docs as well. So in Google Docs, down the right-hand side, there's this little arrow. Now, I always have it hidden, but the side panel is where, again, you can get your calendar, Keep, and tasks. So this is there in Google Docs. From Keep, I can then take this. I can then drag and drop that list into my doc as well. And that is done. For the Google, for colouring the screen for any dyslexic learners, you can, in Google Docs, I would go into page setup and change the colour and then click OK. For that, if you were assigning any tasks for your students in classroom, just do the page setup, page colour, and then do the task for your learner so that it's set up in that way. In Google Keep, I don't think you can change the background colour, unfortunately. So you can change the colour of the notes from your palette. No, that's just the actual list area that you get that. I'm going to stop recording now so that You can then ask any other questions about anything other than Gmail. Gives the Gmail stuff a go as well. So make that signature if you want to. I'm not saying you have to have a signature. It is useful certainly to have your school in your signature, because obviously right now I'm dealing with people from different schools and I don't always know where you are. And also creating some labels, just give that a go. I've got too many emails in my inbox to start really going through it all, but it may be something that you want to do and it's been bugging you and you want to get organized. Look into Google Keep. It is a lovely tool, even if it's just for your personal use and shopping lists. Saves all those bits of paper and forgetting to take the list with you. And also look at the tasks and setting tasks from your email. So